Hey guys, in this video we're going to be talking about what the best affordable radar detectors are on the market. Typically they've kind of been split into two categories. You've got your awesome radar detectors, which are more expensive, and you've got some of the crappier radar detectors, which are kind of inexpensive. And it's a little bit too black and white, but that's generally the trend. And people ask all the time, like, hey, I've got $100, I got $200, I want to get a radar detector. But usually the problem with doing that is if you go for a less expensive, poor performing radar detector, yes, you're going to save money up front, but you're not going to have that great of an experience. You're going to get tons of false alarms. You're going to have poor performance, which is quite likely to lead to, speeding tickets because you've got a false sense of security, and then you've got the insurance hikes, you've got court costs and lawyer fees and all that stuff where, yes, you could save a little bit of money up front by going for a cheap detector, but it may not necessarily be worth it in the end. And to be perfectly honest, I would not recommend these, junk detectors. I wouldn't run them myself. I wouldn't recommend them to friends and family. And so what we're going to be doing in this video is talking about ways that you can actually get higher level performance without having to pay for higher level pricing. So for those of you who guys curious about that, that's what we're going to be covering. I'm not going to be going into crazy long detail about every one detector. We're just going to basically be talking about each one here, give you kind of an idea as far as the pricing and the main highlights and what you can expect. So taking a look here at what we've got currently mounted, we've got the Escort Passport Max 2, we've got the Escort Redline, we've got the Valentine 1, we've got the Radenso Pro, we've got the Uniden LRD 950, we've got a Beltronics RX65M4, and we've got a Cobra SPX 7800 BT. So what are we basically looking at? It's like, well, we've got some more expensive higher-end detectors here. We've got some of the less expensive detectors here, Cobra. Also going to be addressing some other ones like whistlers and stuff that I don't have mounted. I've got a Uniden right here, and I've got a couple other detectors like some other Unidens, which I'm going to be referencing as well. But basically, let's just jump right in and get started. So if you guys are curious, one of the best affordable radar detectors currently on the market is going to be this guy right here. It's going to be the Uniden LRD 950. What makes this guy so special? Well, you're basically going to be looking at higher level performance similar to the Max and to the V1 pretty interestingly. So you've got good performance there with this guy. Oh, such gap's coming down. And basically, really good performance without having to pay a ton of money. You can find this guy online for about $200 rather than having to spend $400 or $600. So pretty awesome. You're getting a lot of performance there for the money. It also comes with GPS lockouts built in. Since there's a GPS chip, you can just press a button right here to automatically lock out your false alerts, and it'll begin learning and ignoring your false alerts over time. It has a red light camera database built in. It can alert you to speed cameras. It can do low speed muting thanks to its GPS. So it's going to give you that combination we want of high performance, few false alerts, and low price. That three-part combination is what we're looking for. Performance, low false alerts, and low price. So this one right here is going to be really, really awesome at that. This guy, you can find him online for about $200 plus minus, kind of in that range. Now, if you like the idea of the LRD 950, but you drive mostly on the highway, not so much in the city, you can get the LRD 850, which is the same thing but without the GPS chip. So you're going to be getting the same awesome radar detection performance, but not a lot of the GPS features that will help deal with the false alerts in town. So without the GPS chip, you're not going to have GPS lockouts to learn and ignore false alerts over time. You're not going to have the low speed muting, and you're not going to have the red light camera and speed camera alerts. So again, those are things beneficial in the city. If you drive primarily on the highway, you can get the LRD 850. That guy, you can find him online for like $129, and that is going to be pretty awesome. So that's a lot of detector for the money. Uniden does make some other detectors, like over here I've got the LRD 750 and the 450. Even fewer features, even less expensive, but considering what the LRD 850 can offer, I would recommend that. If you're looking for something just cheap, go for the 850. Maybe it'll give you better performance than some of the 750 and below tier detectors from Uniden. So the 850 or the 950 if you drive more in town, those are pretty awesome. Now, another good detector to consider is this guy right here. This is the Beltronics RX65, and this is the M4 platform. This same radar detection platform Escort uses in a ton of their different radar detectors. Escort and Beltronics are the same company now, by the way. Now, this same radar detector platform is used in a ton of their detectors, and this particular version of that platform doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles, which makes it more affordable. You can find it online for about the $200 to $250 price range, sometimes cheaper when it goes on sale and there's like a deal going on online. But basically the cool part about this guy is you've got things like solid mid-pack performance. It's a little bit slower than some of the other detectors. It's not the fastest, and it's not going to give you the longest range. But on a budget, it's a very solid option that can definitely help prevent a lot of different radar-based speeding tickets. It's also compatible with Escort Live, so you can pair it with your phone and get cool stuff like an external display. You can get real-time alerts to and from the cloud. You can again get GPS lockouts. This will require your phone, but you can press a button on the phone and tell it this is a false alert. Don't alert me to this signal again. So it's a great way to quiet it down in town. This detector also adds TSR, traffic sensor rejection. So if you're driving on the highway and you have traffic sensors that are constantly blasting with K-band radar, you can use this guy, whereas you can't use any of the Uniden detectors. That's kind of one of the fatal flaws of the Unidens, is if you have traffic sensors on the highway, this guy is going to be basically useless because he's going to false alert all the time. Pretty much every other radar detector we're going to be talking about has the ability to filter those out. The Uniden, unfortunately, does not. So coming back to the bell here. So basically what you're looking at, you've got, solid mid-pack performance, not as good as the Uniden, but you do also have much better customer service. So if you have a problem and need repairs, you need to talk to the company, customer service here is going to be much better. Another one here that I don't actually have mounted, but I do want to talk about it, are the Whistler products from Whistler. Basically the short version of Whistler, the guy who makes the products, Mike B., never met him, but from what I've heard, everybody's talked to him, he is a fantastic guy, and I have no doubt whatsoever. The products that he makes, the Whistlers, unfortunately, are not that great today. They used to be pretty good, but now that we've got some of these other options here, which is going to give you far more performance for the money, there's really not a good reason to get a Whistler. I mean, at this point, they're getting walked all over by the Unidens, the Beltronics, the Escort products. I mean, even some of the Cobras now are able to outrange the Whistler, which is not a good thing. So Cobras typically, I mean, to be perfectly honest, they generally suck. Up to this point, they're not great. I'll get into Cobras in just a second, but basically to wrap things up with Whistler, I would not recommend them at this point, given that there's better options available, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this video, is just to kind of go over what those are. So things like the Unidens, that kind of stuff. The bells are going to be good. So there's definitely some good options, and unfortunately I would no longer be able to recommend Whistler. I'll put some videos or some links in the video description if you want to see some test reviews of the Whistlers, and actually all of these detectors. If you want to see performance-wise how they compare, take a look at the links in the video description, and you'll see plenty of test data and performance data to get a better idea of how these guys compare. Moving on here to the Cobra. Cobras typically make really inexpensive, crappy detectors. They suck. The performance sucks. You're going to get a lot of false alerts. They sell in really high volumes, and while they can help prevent speeding tickets, basically they're just junk. Up to this point, there hasn't been a really good Cobra-based radar detector. Now, Cobra actually recently got bought out by Escort, or they actually merged. Cobra, Escort, and now Beltronics, all three of them now are part of one company called Cedar, C-E-D-A-R. And I'm hoping this happens, that they'll get some of, the technology from Beltronics and Escort, and they'll start making better products from here on out. But up to this point, every Cobra product we've seen sucks. It's junk. I would not recommend any product from Cobra. So that's basically the skinny on Cobra products. Okay, so now that we've talked about those, let's talk about some of the other ones and get into some of the better detectors. This guy, again, you can find him for $200, the Uniden, which is one of the reasons why I recommend him. And the same thing with the Bell, you can find for $200 plus minus in that range, depending on the deal you find and all that. Again, I'll post links in the video description, so where you can find all this stuff. So let's go ahead and talk about now some of the top tier products and why, maybe you want to spend more than $200. Why is it potentially worth, going for a higher end product? Is it worth it? And, what are you giving up by, going for a lower end product? So let's talk about that. So let's go ahead and work our way up. First, we'll just kind of we'll go right to left, and we'll start with the Radenso Pro here. So this guy is a newcomer to the market, and he's performing very, very well. This detector has been available overseas in Europe for quite a while. It was originally sold under the name Genevo. So here's the Genevo 1S. Same hardware and everything as the Radenso Pro. This one actually has the American firmware. It was one that we were testing before the American ones were released. And now that this American version is out, we'll just go ahead and pop it off real quick. You can take a look. This is the Radenso Pro. This is a really tiny detector. It's very, very compact. It's got great performance. And there's a bunch of really cool stuff that it offers. It's got GPS lockouts built in because it does have the GPS chip in there. You've got your red light camera alerts. You've got your speed camera alerts. You've got some good options to help deal with the false alerts. As far as, TSR to help filter out the falses. So you've got the good false protection. You've got the good performance. Pricing, you're looking at about $400. And, you're going to be getting more than you will with the Uniden. One of the good examples is going to be things like your customer service. One of the best things about Radenso is the fact that they're actually interacting with the community to say, hey, here's what we've got. What do you guys want? What features do you want? When you find bugs, let us know so that we can go out and fix them. So the fact that they're actually engaged with us, implementing the request that we ask for is amazing. I can't tell you how much that's been wanted from, some of the other products here that we just haven't been getting. So pretty much, none of the other ones are engaged as much as Radenso. So this is awesome. They have a really great product. They're coming out with more stuff. Some of the things they got going on behind the scenes is just getting better and better. And so currently this guy retails for $400. It's definitely one of the exciting new units and definitely one to keep an eye out for. So there are, again, still some bugs. There's been a series of firmware updates that have been released since, and there's more coming, so not a perfect unit yet. Again, they all do have some little quirks and bugs, so it's nothing, that different. But, it's definitely an awesome unit, and I would recommend it. Moving right along, we've got the Valentine V1, a very popular unit. It's been around for decades now. So the V1 also retails for $400, just like the Radenso. You've got your arrows right here, which basically one of the main things with the V1 is giving you the situational awareness, telling you, not only will it beep, but it'll actually tell you where the signal is, which can be very useful in practice to help, just get familiar with what's going on. You've got, again, excellent performance. You've got excellent blind spot filtering. So the blind spot filtering here is actually the best out of any of the radar detectors. The new V1, the old ones, were probably some of the noisiest detectors on the market. The new ones, especially when paired with the app Yavi 1, becomes now like one of the quietest detectors on the market. Not only that, the implementation of the GPS lockouts is probably the best implementation out of any of the detectors. So while other detectors like these two guys do have it, you can get it here with Escort Live, you can get it with these guys. Here it's built into the detector too. This one, it does require a phone, just like the ones that require Escort Live. But the way that it works, it's now automatic, so you don't have to press anything, and it's very safe. It's designed in such a way where it's, again, not perfect, never is, but the whole goal is to quiet false alerts while alerting you to legitimate threats. And so it has a bunch of stuff built in for that. So the blind spot, or not the blind spot, the lockouts actually work very nicely there. The laser sensitivity is actually fantastic. It's got probably the best laser sensor out of any radar detector. Unfortunately, it doesn't have very good filtering, so it also will give you lots of laser false alerts. Because of that, I actually run it with laser turned off and let my jammers handle everything. But basically what you're looking at here, arrows and a lot of control and customizability. So $400 for the detector, $40 for the Bluetooth module, and you can pair it with a phone, Android or iOS. Android is recommended. Escort Redline. This guy here is a beast. He is a monster. If you want maximum all-out range and performance above all else, which is arguably the most important feature on a radar detector, this guy is it right here, the Escort Redline. He is awesome. So this guy will give you the longest range on KA in tough situations and easy ones or different terrains. I mean, this guy, if you want to detect radar, this is your guy right here. He is awesome. He also has some other features such as immunity from radar detector detectors. So if you're driving around in an area where detectors are illegal and they're using radar detector detectors, this is the only one here which cannot be detected. All of the other ones can be detected. So that is something good to know. Laser sensitivity like the V1 is also excellent. It's not quite as good, but it does have actually better laser filtering, which makes it more useful and practical in the field. So laser sensitivity is good. Radar detection is really good. It does not have a lot of bells and whistles like GPS or a fancy screen. This one is more about the raw, all-out performance. Awesome on the highway. If you want to deal with the false alerts in the city with lockouts, you're going to have to pair it with your phone, and you will manually lock out false alerts that way. The detector is originally was $500. It recently got raised to $550. If you want the Bluetooth module to pair with your phone, it's another $100. So that's the Redline. Now, a quick thing, I don't have the detector here, so I'm going to put it on the screen, but the Beltronics Magnum is actually what the Redline was based out of. When Escort and Beltronics merged, they basically took that hardware, created the Redline, and since then the Redline has gotten some updates that the Magnum has not, and because of that, the Redline has been a better choice. Now, recently, one of the updates, which is band segmentation and RDR, BSRDR, has come to the Magnum. And because of that, you can get Redline level performance out of the Magnum, and now it's become a really, really popular choice among enthusiasts. You get the performance of the Redline, but you get the better case design of the Magnum. This one, if you've got the detector mounted really high, you can't see the buttons. You're not going to be able to see the display, that kind of stuff. I have it mounted low just for the video, but if you have it mounted up high like people normally would, it's tough to see the screen. So the Magnum, easier to see the screen, the buttons. You get the Beltronic sounds instead of the Escort one. So there's a lot of really cool things, and now people are buying up Magnums because it has BSRDR and it should have the same type of performance as the Redline. So really interesting there. If you're looking at a detector like this, that's now, at this point, it wasn't before, but it's now another one to consider, is the new BSRDR Magnum. Now finally, let's go ahead and look at the Passport Max 2. This guy is going to be our most expensive detector, and has also got the most features. So this one has all the bells and whistles and, you know, everything built in. This one, basically, if you want everything jam-packed into one unit with no phone required, this is it. Basically plug and play, put it on your windshield, and it does pretty much everything for you. So you've got your higher end performance with this one. This one also has GPS lockouts, but unlike any other detector, the GPS lockouts are both built into the detector, no phone required, and they're automatic, so you don't have to keep manually locking the signals out. You can do that, but you can also just let it be automatic, and it'll automatically learn all the false alerts and start quieting it down for you. You've got your things like your red light camera databases, you've got your low speed muting, bunch of stuff. Customer service is, you know, good there. Again, you know, you got a bunch going for this detector. There are some downsides to this one too, such as poor quality control. There's problems with the detector actually splitting apart. You get some weird KA falses. You've got a number of different issues. So the quality control here is not the best. The laser sensitivity, for whatever reason, is really poor. It's not going to give you the same level of laser sensitivity as some of these other detectors, which is bizarre on kind of a top tier detector, but whatever. It doesn't really matter too much in the end. But basically, yeah, I mean, you've got Bluetooth built in with this one. You can get the Max, which has no Bluetooth built in. Otherwise, they're the same thing. This is the Max 2, retails for $600. You can sometimes find it a little bit less online. Shop around. I'll put links in the video description. So there you go. You've got, you know, a bunch of stuff all built in. So if you like the idea of some of these detectors, but you want a lot of the features built in, it's not going to give you the range of the Redline. But it's still, you know, plenty usable in many situations. So that's just a quick look here at a bunch of these detectors. So yeah, just kind of summarizing, you know, we've got top tier performance from a lot of these guys. They all have their own pros and cons. If you're looking for something more affordable, I mean, you've got the Radenso here, $400. It's going to give you a ton of the features like what's available here, the GPS lockouts, all that kind of stuff built in. Lockouts here are automatic. Lockouts here are manual. You are going to have to press the button on it. Same thing with the Uniden. You're going to have to press the button to lock out the signals. But this guy is a great affordable choice. Now that you can find them for around the $200 mark, that's a really cool one. This guy is also another good option if you need things like filtering out false alerts from traffic sensors, or you want to pair it with Escort Live. That's another good option. If you want something that, you know, does have the customer service to back it up in case something goes wrong, it might be kind of tough there. Here you'll have a better option. So, pros and cons to everything. That's basically the gist of it. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask down in the comment area below, and or just hop on the forums, and plenty of people, you know, test results, discussions, pros, cons, all of that stuff is all online. So there you go. I hope that's been helpful, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.